Just getting the camera set up. I think I've got it perfect now. Right. Just waiting for everyone to join. I think this is okay like that. Everyone can see me. Hello everybody. Thank you for tuning in. People are tuning in now. There's something in my eye. I'm just coming on for a Q&A session. I know that I've not given any advance notice of this, but this is kind of a spontaneous thing. Hello everyone. Hello to those who's chosen to view me on YouTube. Hello there. I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. And hello everyone on Instagram as well. I'm streaming currently on Instagram and YouTube. If anyone has any questions, this is not a workshop today, not about any specific topic. So if you've got any questions related to anything, manifestation, removing stress, meditation, spiritual development, anything like that, just let me know. Hello to everyone who's saying hello on Instagram. I can see someone said, "You angel." Are you asking if I'm an angel? Hello from Belgium. Hello there. Thank you for tuning in. So, if anyone has any questions, let me know. It's a bit of a later time than I was usually be tuning into. What I will just say for the moment is I've had a lot of good feedback from my most recent YouTube video. I posted a YouTube video yesterday about what affirmations that really helped me to clear resistance and to let go of fear, and that really gets all the other affirmations from working, because quite often we can have a lot of fear and resistance that's blocking us from manifesting what we want, because our subconscious mind has so many fears and emotional memories that we hold on to that causes stress and limiting beliefs. But the problem is, if we hold on and identify with those limiting beliefs so much, we can't actually move through that and actually create anything new, because even if we say affirmations and positive thinking time and time again, if we don't believe it, or if we have a lot of fear and anxiety that's blocking us from it happening, it won't manifest. And even though we want to create change in our life, it's very possible that we can prevent change from happening, because even though we find the things that we get stressed about stressful, there's a familiarity about it, especially if we're holding on to habit patterns and fears and emotional trauma all our life. And if we have been holding on to all of those things for all our life, then when we have the idea or the opportunity to let them go, it can be scary, because fear of the unknown tends to be more scary. In fact, fear of the unknown is one of the biggest fears that we have, because there's no way, if you're in the unknown, you don't know how to protect yourself. It's all part of that fight or flight defense mechanism, that survival part of the brain. So when we're saying an affirmation of positive thinking, we have to really feel them to create change. But if we're not feeling them because we've got so many fears and other thoughts that we've had all our life, we need to somehow get past them. So the video that I made was a way to use affirmations to sort of bypass that part of the subconscious mind, to sort of go past the resistance, a bit of a psychological reversal, by saying I am willing, being willing to use your not willing to use your affirmations, be willing to make the changes that you want. Because if you are willing, it's open-ended. You're not putting yourself under any pressure to make change. You don't have to put any pressure on yourself, but you're saying that you are willing to make a change. So that's very different than just saying I am this and I am that, or I am infinitely abundant when you don't feel infinitely abundant, or when you feel very happy when you feel really depressed. But by saying I'm willing, you're putting yourself in a potential place where you can make a change, and that can have far more quicker results when we're trying to relieve some resistance. So if you haven't checked out my most recent YouTube video, please do so. I'm sure it'll be very helpful. Those on Instagram, if you don't know, I do have a YouTube channel as well. I post regular content on there, the same as I do on Instagram. If you are drawn to check out the videos, and if you like the videos, please do consider subscribing there as well. And let me know what you think of the videos, and if it helps, if it resonated, and if there's any topics that you would like to work on, and any topics you would like me to post about. Right, so I'm just going to scroll up to the comments. There's a few questions that have come in here. What's the best way to meditate to stop overthinking? Any form of, if you see me glance up, I'm looking at my other camera here, and if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my other camera down here. I've got Instagram and YouTube, managing both at the same time. Best way to meditate to stop overthinking? I mean, any form of meditation will help with that, because meditation, there's different types of meditation, but essentially, when what we say meditating can be anything. It doesn't have to be sitting with your eyes closed, cross-legged, with a mudra or anything like that. Even if you, meditation is basically a way for you to focus your attention on something in the present moment. So that can be anything. It's to channel your focus on something that's not all the thoughts in your mind. So, for example, my dad used to go fishing quite a lot, and every time he would go fishing, he would feel so refreshed and relaxed during fishing and afterwards. And it's because his focus is solely on his float. He doesn't want to miss a bite. So all of his attention is just on this float. He's not thinking about anything else. So that's a form of meditation. It's for putting his attention on one thing. That's what we're doing in meditating. And usually the most common way, the most common method that's taught is focusing on the breath, for example. Focusing on the sensation of your breath going in through your nose and out through your nose or out through your mouth. So meditation is just a way to train your mind to focus on one thing. So that will help with any form of overthinking. So it's basically the best way is just to find what works for you. What is your point of focus? I always like to call it an anchor point. So when you go to meditate, you can sit yourself down, make sure you get comfortable, because if your body is not comfortable, you're not going to relax. So you need to get your body comfortable. You need to get yourself in a relaxed position to give your mind and your body permission to relax, because sometimes we can also have resistance to relax. So you want to get nice and comfortable, and then focus on your breathing first, taking a few slower, deeper breaths, but what is still comfortable for you in and out. You want to make your breathing much slower and calmer. The reason for this is when we breathe more calmly, more relaxed, it sends a signal to the brain that we are safe. So therefore, the fight or flight, the parasympathetic nervous system, before the fight or flight mechanisms in the brain will begin to calm down and then will begin to relax. So that's why it's important to breathe in a certain way when you meditate to relax the body, because it has that sort of effect. And then place your attention on the breath, or you can place your attention at your heart center or on your body. You could do a mindfulness practice. Just choose something to just keep putting your focus on, and just repetition, repetition, repetition. If your mind wanders, as soon as you realize your mind has wandered, bring it back. That's the point of meditation. It's not to have zero thoughts. It's possible if you train yourself to do that, but it's not the purpose. Your purpose wouldn't really be for that right now. Your purpose would be to train your mind. So you could sit down, have a meditation, you could have loads of thoughts. Don't be disheartened by that. Just every time you catch a thought, bring your attention back to your anchor point. And every single time you do that, you are retraining your brain, you're retraining your body, you're practicing sharpening your focus and concentration. And it may take a few times, and it may take you a longer time than others to realize, oh, I've just gone into a thought. You might have a meditation where you sat down for 20 minutes, half an hour or something, and you might just be thinking the whole time, and you keep, oh, come back to the breath. Oh, come back to the breath. You might have to come back to it 5 or 6 times, and that's okay. And then there'll be some times when you might not need to do it at all. You might be able to just focus on the breath completely. So it's repetition and finding an anchor point that works well for you. As I said, it could be the body, it could be the breath, it could be the heart center, it could be an affirmation, and just keep doing that. And that will help with the overthinking. How to control stress. Is having stress tablets as good to have it regular? How to control stress. So, I mean, meditation that I just spoke about there, that will help with stress, absolutely. And the thing with stress as well, I mean, I found this out myself. is to not resist what is worrying us. So by this I mean, if we are stressed about something, we can have the stress of what we are originally getting stressed about. But then sometimes when we realize that we are stressed, it creates more stress because we're stressed that we're stressed, or we are trying to suppress the stress. Say that 3 times fast. Um, and then it creates more resistance, and so it makes it worse to deny what we're feeling. So when we're getting really stressed and anxious, whatever it is that we're feeling, the best thing is to acknowledge it. And you can do this simply by saying, I am aware of this stress. I am aware of this fear. I'm aware of this feeling of anxiety. I'm aware of the stress, or whatever it is. Doing this is powerful because, one, what is the words that you're actually saying? You are saying, I am aware of. I am aware of. So you are literally saying that you are aware of what you're feeling. Therefore, you are not it. You are not the stress. I'm aware of this stress. So then you realize that the stress is something that you are observing. It's a way for you to disidentify yourself with that stress, because what makes stress and everything worse is when we get so consumed by it because we identify with it. Oh, this has stressed me out. I'm feeling these emotions, this fear, I'm trapped and everything. And we identify ourselves as part of our problems and who we are. But of course, we are not that, because we could easily choose to view something completely differently and have a completely different set of emotions, thoughts, and beliefs associated with that. The problem is when we respond to something, usually it's a result of what habits we have and what programs we have and how we've always done that. And if it's, you know, related to any fears or emotions that we're feeling. So we have the potential to change that. And of course, when we study in meditation and spiritual practices and expanding our consciousness, we talk about the observer effect, where we are the observer of everything. That higher self, that higher part of us. We don't need to identify with all of this labels and stuff that's going on. So by saying I am aware of, acknowledging that problem, one, you're not resisting it, because anything you resist persists. There's that famous quote, what resists persists. So you avoid any added resistance, so that cuts it down straight away. Second thing is, by saying you are aware of, you are beginning to take your identity away from that in the first place. And again, that will take the sting off of it as well, because once you realize you are not it, you can objectively look at something. You can just say, right, yeah, I'm aware of this anxiety here, I'm not giving into it, it's just the feeling that's going around my body, this stress. So that can help. And meditation as well, and other sort of practices. But that's one thing that you can just like nip it in the bud type of thing. Um, Hello, I have a spiritual development question. How do you forgive or find forgiveness towards someone who has actively hurt us and caused pain and stress? Well, first of all, forgiveness is a very important part of any kind of spiritual development and expanding our consciousness. Um, because we'll find that a lot of us are holding on to resentment for a lot of things or past hurts, and we could do with letting go of a lot of stuff, basically. And it's not just other people, it's also forgiveness of ourselves, because we've all got the parts of ourselves that we don't like, or the parts of ourselves that we've done things out of our own habit patterns, or things that we recognize that might have not helped us or other people. But we find that in order to create the life that we want, manifest what we want, and expand our consciousness, take on new energy, all the good stuff that we talk about, right? We have to let go of what's not working first of all, because we have energy. We're all energy beings. And even though we are infinite, we don't have an infinite level or supply of energy. We have infinite energy because we're infinite beings, but our energy can deplete as far as our aura, our energy field, and our vibration. Our vibration can lower and our vibration can rise. To create an abundant life, to have that inner peace, everything to flow, and to be optimum health, everything. Obviously, this involves having a higher vibration, feeling much more elevated emotions, doing things that have a higher vibration, therefore have a higher vibrational effect. We can't do that if we are still holding on to emotions, beliefs, fears, and stuck energy from stuff that happened years ago. We can't do that, so we have to let that go. And one of the key things that we can hold on to is resentment, anger, trauma. And a lot of these need to be forgiven, because when we forgive something, we liberate ourselves and set ourselves free. So, um, when you say, how do you forgive or find forgiveness towards someone who's actually hurt us, this is quite simple when you might be difficult to do depending on how identified you are with the emotion and the feeling. But when you understand it from this level, it makes sense. Remember, there is no past or future, there's only this present moment. So what happened in the past is doesn't technically that doesn't exist. It's just memories in your mind. I mean, it's in the energy field, obviously, the blueprint of it. But everything that we hold on to is just a memory in our mind, and then we project the memory to the future, which is just a concept. We bypass this present moment. This moment right now is how we create things. So, first of all, it's been proven that the memories that we hold on to can get distorted over a period of time. So it's very possible that a lot of us are holding on to memories, fears, anger, emotion, and trauma that's influencing our life right now and has influenced our life. We can hold on to all of that, but the original memory, the original event may be so distorted that we might be focusing on something that didn't even happen in the first place. Either we've misinterpreted how it happened, or over a period of time, the mind has warped it a bit, changed it a bit, and we find that we're focusing on parts of what happened that never even happened, and yet we're still giving our power away to it. So that's one thing to consider, first of all. The second thing is when we're looking to actively forgive someone, we're not giving them a free pass. We're not saying what they did was right. We are not excusing all that. Because when we forgive, we are helping ourselves, as well as, helping that person. If the person has done something that was not good, then they do need help. They could do with love and light, forgiveness to help them on their path. But that's not pardoning what they've done. Because when you are so heavily focused on something that someone's done to you, it's actually depleting your energy, not them. You could have a memory of someone who potentially doesn't even remember you in their life, or potentially someone who doesn't even think about you, or they may have no clue or idea that you are feeling this way towards them, what they've done. By holding on to any resentment and anything like that, it's actually depleting your energy, because resentment it creates so many energy blocks. It can cause physical disease, depletes our energy, makes us feel limited. It has a whole host of negative effects on the immune system, and it does nothing to validate or does nothing to make right what the other person's done. It only drains your energy. So you are actually freeing yourself by forgiving someone or forgiving yourself. You are liberating your energy and giving it back to you. So you're not giving them a free pass. You're giving yourself your energy back. Does that make sense? Just holding on to resentment, holding on to someone, it does nothing to them. It just does damage to you. So you could say that they are, if you want to look at it this way, it's more the case that if you're thinking of, oh, well, they are doing something to me and it's a negative effect if I forgive them, there's more negative that they're doing by you holding on to the resentment. They will have no power over you whatsoever. If you're thinking, no, I'm not giving my power away, I'm not giving in to what they've done, well, then forgive them. Because then you're really rising above them, rising above what they've done, and doing something tremendously powerful yourself. You free up that energy. You let go of that emotion. You let go of those habits, and now you have more free energy to manifest something that you want. Especially when you consider that what you're remembering might not have actually been the truth of what happened in the first place anyway. So when I realised that made it a lot easier to let go and forgive. But of course, things can still come up. We might not realise that we're still holding on to more resentment until we get triggered. But as far as how to do it, bring yourself to that. You're not justifying what they've done. You're empowering yourself. I hope that helps and makes sense. No questions on the YouTube side yet. That is fine. Another question here on Instagram. When I meditate, I start thinking too much. Why? I mean, it won't be just when you start meditating. The mind has, we think thousands of thoughts a day, and we're only aware of a small percent of them. So the mind is constantly on loop. What can sometimes happen, though, is if we try too hard, again, we resist. So I must not have any thoughts. I must not have any thoughts when I'm meditating. And of course, thoughts come. If I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, you're going to think of a pink elephant. So if I'm saying I must not have any thoughts, I must not have any thoughts, well, you're thinking, I must not have any thoughts. So don't try, as I said earlier, don't try to have no thoughts. It's to just observe them. And every time you realize you've had a thought, bring your attention back to an anchor point. That's the breath, that could be your body, could be your heart center, your affirmation or your intention. So don't try to think I must have zero thoughts, because if you think that, you won't have zero thoughts. You'll keep thinking. It's okay. It's having peace with thoughts, not peace without thoughts. Even though you can have peace without thoughts, but that takes a great deal of practice. And it would be more in your favor to not put yourself under that much pressure. So just don't think too much about it. Basically, how to make your mind calm. Another question about having peace and calm. I've kind of been covering this as I've been going along. Is it important to develop a belief system to reach your highest potential? I'm lost most of the times. I do things at times only because I'm supposed to. Oh, absolutely. It's very important because your belief system is defining how you're seeing your reality. I've spoken about how we can get beliefs based on holding on to resentment and emotional fears from past experiences, because they determine the beliefs that we have. Anything that has a very highly emotional charge is remembered much more clearly by the subconscious mind. So this is why, first of all, the subconscious mind remembers everything. The subconscious mind is like a supercomputer. It remembers every experience we have, good or bad, from the beginning of when we were born. Obviously, we don't have access to that in the conscious mind, but anything that has an emotional reaction, that's a very highly charged emotional event, it's remembered much more clearly. This is why we remember things even consciously that stand out from that were very traumatic experiences, fearful, painful, or happy experiences, because we can get the elevated emotions on the happy end as well, except it doesn't cause any problems. That's lovely. The problems are when it's what we would call more the negative emotions, or lower vibration. And that's how fears and phobias develop. I always use this analogy just because it's so simple to understand, and this works for everything. If you were bitten by a dog when you were younger, it was very scary, it was very painful, very traumatic. Your subconscious mind, your memory, is going to remember more of how you felt about that. And therefore, it will remember the environment, how you felt the scenario so vividly that this can form into a belief, a fear, or a phobia. And it happens automatically, so that when you grow up, maybe 10, 20 years later, let's say, and you see a dog coming towards you, completely different scenario. 20 years later, completely different dog, no intention to attack or anything. But if you've not addressed or let go of that emotion and that fear, if you've held on to that experience all this time, you will develop a phobia. I don't like dogs, or dogs coming near me, or anything like that. That's how phobias are developed, because in the mind, there's the emotion, there's the stuck energy that we've not processed, and therefore a belief has been made from that. And of course, we create from these beliefs. So that concept is exactly the same in any relationships, like abusive relationships. If we don't feel that we're good enough, our core beliefs are very fundamental because it's based on how we feel. And also, interestingly as well, the core beliefs that we hold on to, and core beliefs are beliefs that are so deep like the roots of our values that are formulated, how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive life, they are formed primarily in the first 7 years of our life. Because when we it actually begins when we're in the womb still. I can't remember at what stage when we're in the womb, but we start taking in information when we're still in the womb up to the ages of 6 to 7. Our brain is still developing, so our brain is in a brainwave state known as theta. And theta is the brainwave state that's just before sleep. So it's in that half sleep, half awake state. It's also the state of hypnosis. So when we are in, like young children, we're basically in a hypnotized state. This is one reason why I say it's very careful to the upbringing of young children, because they are formulating the blueprint of what their core belief system will be. Now, they can do this based on what's said to them, what's done to them, but also what they witness and the environment around them, and they can pick up energy and behaviors from others around them, parents, school, society in general, whatever they're exposed to. So if you were exposed to some abuse when you were younger, I mean, it's not just from ages 7. Obviously, anything that has an emotional charge will affect your core beliefs as well. But they say, it's said that those first 7 years are very primal, or very imperative in the early development of our belief system. But if you've had an upbringing where you've not had the love, not had the support or any abuse, or you've not had the attention that you felt you needed from your parents, and you take away a lacking of confidence that you're not good enough, that you were never acknowledged, you will take those beliefs and those feelings as you're growing up, and you'll start defining your reality by these beliefs. So every time you get into a relationship, it will be abusive, or you won't get the love or the affection, or you may struggle to get a relationship. If you keep feeling you're not good enough, you're never going to succeed, because we start creating things based on what we think, what we feel, because of course that creates the energy and vibration. So it's very important to have a healthy belief system that supports you. Otherwise, our belief system is defining how we view our reality, and how we view our reality is defined by how we create. So it's very important to have a healthy belief system, and to remove the beliefs that don't work. And this is why I help clients in a one-to-one case as well. For those who don't know, I offer one-to-one coaching as well, which helps clients to reprogram their subconscious mind, to remove these fears and these past habits that they've got, so they can start manifesting goals and desires that they want, that's in alignment with their higher self. And once clients are able to see what it is they're needing to let go of and put these practices in place, their lives change tremendously. Mine has. But it's an ongoing process still, because there's still stuff that I'm letting go of, because it's always a process of layers. But your beliefs are very important. But if you are interested, or if anyone is interested in one-to-one coaching, that option is there. I have a special offer on my programs at the moment, as well as the option of having a free 20-minute discovery call, where we can have a chat about, if you want to have some personalized attention, so I know exactly what your personal circumstances are, and we can put together a potential plan of how we could work together over the next few weeks to start to transform your life. So if this is something that would resonate, there is the option of the free call, and the link can be found on my Instagram bio and on my YouTube about section as well to book the free call. I hope that helps. So I just need to catch up with some of the comments. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. That's Hevosh. I hope what I said earlier did help. When we think, does it work? Are you meaning meditating? If you think, does meditation work? Is that what you're meaning? Can we do meditation before sleeping? You can do. If you research good times to meditate, you'll find a lot of people say they meditate in the morning or the evening. I've done both, but for me, sometimes when I meditate in the evening, I struggle to go to sleep. So some people have really good night's sleep after meditating, and I've been a few times when I've done a meditate and I've slept well, but a lot of the time actually I struggle to sleep. So I tend not to meditate in the evening, or not just too much before bed, but in the evening, a bit before bed than you can do. What will happen when raise vibration embody more by breathing. What will happen when raise vibration body more by breathing? So I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Are you saying what happens to the body? Like, can you raise your vibration by breathing? Is that what you're saying? You can raise your vibration by feeling elevated emotions. So if you meditate, use your breath as an anchor, but if you start bringing in the feelings of gratitude, love, compassion, uh, empowerment, being creative, those sort of feelings are very what we call empowering emotions, elevated emotions, and they've been shown to boost the immune system tremendously, heal the body. It releases the feel-good chemicals. Over 1,400 different chemicals get released from the brain when we feel gratitude, for example. So that raises our vibration. And of course, the feeling of gratitude is a wonderful, talk about it all the time with manifesting. If you want to manifest something, couple it with the feeling of gratitude, because not only is gratitude an elevated emotion and a higher vibration, it's also the state of receivership. Because when you manifest something, when you receive something, you're grateful. So, oh, I'm so grateful because you're receiving. So if you're in that constant state of feeling like you're receiving, and you feel that you've always got something to be grateful for, that's the vibration you're going to be putting out there. Therefore, you will always have something that comes to you that you're grateful for. So that's a good way to raise your vibration. Again, that can be habit though, because sometimes we struggle to think of things spontaneously that makes us grateful, especially if we're struggling with anything, but it's just practice. And the more we can practice, the more it becomes a habit, and then it becomes more set in our ways where it's easier to do. But if what I do, I mean, I suppose, because it depends what your belief and perspective is about your body, because some people aren't happy with their body. I'm happy with my body. I have no problems with my body, and I'm very grateful for the health that I have and everything my body's done for me in my life. So if I find it difficult to just, all right, I'm going to feel grateful, then I think of my body, because my body is keeping me alive in this this physical vessel's keeping me alive in this lifetime, and I'm so grateful for that. So that's a way that starts to make me feel grateful about something. Just be grateful that anything that you can think of, the clothes you're wearing, the seat that you are sitting on, anything that you know that you are grateful for, that can be an opening, because sometimes it can be difficult to um, find something to be grateful for if we're really down in the dumps about it. SunCap12, thank you for answering my question. You are welcome. Oh, just knock something over. But again, that's usually resistance if we're struggling to, feel any empowering emotions. And again, if anyone's new that's just joined into the chat, my most recent YouTube video is about how you can get past that resistance with some really good affirmations that can help you to get past that stage where if you've got any blockages, or if you don't really believe your affirmations and you want to start getting things shifting, I'd talk about the affirmations that you can use in the process through that in that video. So if you haven't checked it out yet, do check it out. I've had some really lovely comments and messages about that video helping people. So if that might be something that would help you as well. And if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel yet, for those of you on Instagram and don't know that I have a YouTube channel, if you like my content on Instagram, I'm sure you'll like my content on YouTube. If it resonates, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you over there as well. And any topics you'd like me to make a video on, just message me and let me know. A lot of wishes from India, Delhi. Thank you for tuning in. For those who must be late over there in India, so thank you so much for tuning in. Just seeing if there's any more questions. Just catching up with the comments. Hevosh said yes, meditation. I think that's in reference to, does it work if we're thinking? Remember, as I said earlier, meditation isn't about having zero thoughts. I know there's lots of associations with meditating and not thinking and everything like that. I mean, that does take a degree of discipline and practice. But the purpose of meditation, I will say, is always bringing something you back to the present moment. As I said, my dad, he wasn't sitting with his eyes closed. He's not even spiritual, but he would go fishing and he would keep his attention on his float because he didn't want to miss a bite. But by doing that, he stopped thinking about other things in his life, and he became less stressed and so relaxed in those moments because he's putting all his focus on an anchor point, which was the float. So just find an anchor point. If a thought comes up, just keep bringing your attention back to the anchor point. And it's not sitting there still. It's the habit of catching those thoughts and bringing your attention back to an anchor point. That's brain training. That's training your mind. I do qigong, which for those who don't know, qigong is like a type of Tai. It's the root basis of Tai Chi. It's like moving meditation, Chinese medicine. And there's a practice that you can do before doing qigong where it's a meditation where you can either focus on like a candle flame or something in front of you and just keep your focus on that for a few minutes, or count down, imagine in your mind that 300 to 0, whatever number it is, and make the numbers very vivid and watch the numbers count down till you get to 0. That's surprisingly difficult, but that's concentrating on those numbers. Concentrate on an anchor point so that when you do your moving meditation in qigong, you've got that focus, you've got that centeredness. And it's what all the benefits and all the other things come by doing that. So yeah, don't stress about thoughts in meditation. I've done that and it just creates more stress and resistance anyway. So that's the thing we want to let go of. What locket is this? Do you mean this pendant? This is shungite. A shungite pendant which helps protect from EMF radiation. It's not exactly a crystal, it's carbon basically. But it's a really good, I do have a somewhere shungite pyramid as well, but not to hand, and some bracelets. Wonderful stone or carbon. Can't see any more questions at the moment, so what is the time? I can be around for another 5 minutes if anyone has any other questions. I'm learning time zones. Of course, everyone's got different time zones, so I've got one person in on YouTube. There's 7 people in on Instagram at the moment. 8 people now. I don't know how many people have been. 9 people. Oh, it's going up. I'm learning. I'm trying to do live streams at different times to accommodate different time zones. I know I have a lot of people follow me from India, a lot of people in the US and Canada and the UK, which is where I'm based. I'll be doing a workshop soon on meditation, actually. I have done a workshop in the past, meditation for beginners, and that was very popular at the time, and it was requested for me to do another one. So I will post details of that soon. That will probably be midweek, but I will update details about that shortly. And if anyone has any topics that you'd like to see me do a live stream on or a YouTube video on, then obviously just let me know. Kundalini yoga, I've tried that. I love that. However, I don't practice it regularly at the moment because I'm doing my other yoga and qigong. Don't have time to do all the practices, but also that'll be a lot of energy work doing everything all at once. So, but I have done it. It's very good. I haven't done it enough to not advanced. But as I said, at the moment I'm drawn to doing my qigong, so that's what I've been favouring at the moment. But I used to do Kundalini early in the morning, and that, depending on the moves, can be like quite disciplined. You know, can be quite tough. The breath of fire is that? That took a while to get used to, but it did my stamina and it got more comfortable and easy on my body. But the amazing sort of feeling afterwards was very, very powerful. As I will start doing that again, but at the moment, doing that with my yoga and qigong might be a bit much, at least for the moment, time-wise and also energy work, because you have to be mindful when we do energy work, whether it's meditation, clearing our chakras, or doing a lot of releasing, or whatever it is, our subtle energy bodies needs to adjust. And our physical bodies need to adjust. And of course, if we do too much, it can be too much to ground, too much to shift. It's best to pace ourselves. Do what we feel drawn to doing. Hello to others who are just joining in. It's a Q&A session. So if anyone has any more questions, been some great questions so far. I've got a few more minutes that I can answer a question before signing off. Any questions on the YouTube side? I'll just check the chat thing. Nothing there at the moment. That's fine. I think I answered all the questions that came through. That's the point, actually. The next workshop that I'm going to do, meditation for beginners, is that something that you guys would, or those who are in the chat room right now, would be interested in? The last one that we had a lot of people very interested in that. I did the inner child healing workshop a few days ago. Had some good feedback on that. The replay is on Instagram and on YouTube. What's this question here? Can we manifest a soulmate via meditation? Yes, you can, if you're able to get into that feeling state. If you're able to get into that place like it's already happened. Now, that's the challenge. Because, as I said earlier, if we have, and a lot of us have this, and it's a process, I've definitely found it's a process of doing it layer by layer. We can have a lot of beliefs, fears, and thoughts based on past experiences and the programming that we're taking on that believes that we are limited and we can't manifest what we want. We've got to get over that. And sometimes we can have moments where we feel empowered and everything's working out, and there's other times when we're challenged. So it's finding a way, even when we're challenged, to maintain that vibration that, you can manifest what you want. And if you want to manifest like a soulmate, then it's very easy to say in theory, all you need to do is act like that soulmate is already there. Or this is the same for anything. You've got to feel like it's already happened. But this is why it's important to focus on releasing what's blocking us from manifesting those things in the first place, because otherwise it won't work. But you can in meditation, definitely meditation if you can get in that place, because if you can shift your brainwave state to theta, which is what I mentioned earlier, which is the brainwave state of hypnosis, where you go into that sort of deep trance state, and you keep your focus, your anchor point that I mentioned earlier, on the intention of manifesting your partner, or whatever it is, and bring in that feeling like it's already real, with something also like the feeling of gratitude, which is the elevated emotion. You shift your energy to match with that experience. That does take practice, because it depends on, have you got any beliefs in your subconscious mind that thinks, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. So you need to sort of shift yourself in that place. I do actually have some YouTube videos uploaded on how you can manifest a meditation for your specific person. So soulmate, specific person, it's the same sort of phrase. So if you haven't checked them out yet, check out my YouTube channel. There's quite a few videos on there. And amazing that there's been quite a few comments in there where people have actually had some results from doing that. So they were able to be in that place where they shift that energy and that belief. So check out those videos. Take care, thank you, you're most welcome. And that was why I created the video yesterday, the purpose, those affirmations, and letting go of resistance, because it can be challenging to get over our thoughts and fears, because if we generally embody what our intentions are with no fears and doubts, then we can do tremendous things, amazing things. It's only our own fears that can block us from, the procrastination and all that sort of thing. So the affirmations, this is what I've been using. I'm willing to release all resistance. I'm willing to release all fear. Or the affirmations that you want to use, that you're trying to manifest from. If they don't seem to be working, then you can say, I am willing, because as I said earlier, sometimes even though we can have limiting beliefs and fears, and we think that we want to change, we can have the fear of change. And sometimes the fear of change is greater than the stress that we are being stressed out from the original problem anyway. But if you say that I am willing, I'm willing to release this fear, I'm willing to release this stress, then you put yourself in that vibrational state of being willing to make these changes. And one of two things will happen. Either you will manifest what you want because you've removed that resistance, or you at least manifesting yourself in that feeling state where you take the appropriate action to start manifesting. If that makes sense. But yeah, the YouTube video will go over that. But for that, if there's no more questions from anyone, I will sign off. I think that's all the questions that I've answered. Just check again on YouTube if there's any questions there. Yeah, I can't see any other questions. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. It was a spontaneous live. As I said as well earlier, I do have some coaching programs available. So if anything that I've said resonates for you and you feel you'd like to work with me one-to-one and have some more personalized attention with what's currently going on with you, I do have some special offers on my coaching programs at the moment, and of course the free 20-minute discovery call. You can book a free call with me for 20 minutes. We can talk about the issues you'd like to work on, and we can go from there. Those links can be found in my Instagram bio and in the About section on my YouTube page. So, but thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I will be going live again in the week to do a workshop on meditation for beginners. I'll post information about that near the time. If you have any ideas for YouTube videos or topics, just drop me a message on Instagram or send me an email, and I will get that created for you. But thank you very much for tuning in on YouTube and Instagram and wherever I am in the world. Hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, and I'll see you next time. Love and light, everyone.